Blue Light Tales is here again for another interesting story. So this story is about a young girl named Aisha who is ill and her mother, Amina. Now let's dive into our story. Amina grew up in a small village in northern Nigeria, surrounded by the vibrant culture and traditions of her Hausa community. She married the love of her life, but Amina's life took a dramatic turn when she gave birth to her first child. Name Aisha. Aisha is a lovely child who laughs all the time, and her laughter is contagious. Her parents were overjoyed. After few months, Aisha fell severely ill. Her parents had exhausted all their savings. The illness persisted. Aisha was bedridden for months, and her parents were worried that they might lose her. The medical bills were piling up, and they didn't have enough money to pay for her treatment. In desperation, Aisha's father made a difficult decision. He accepted an offer from a wealthy man, Al-Haji, who was willing to pay for Aisha's medical treatment in exchange for her hand in marriage. Aisha was just a child at the time, and she didn't understand the implications of this arrangement. Years went by, and Aisha recovered from her illness. She grew into a strong and vibrant young woman with a bright future ahead of her. She started attending school, made new friends, and even caught the eye of a handsome young man named Abba. Abba and Aisha's love blossomed, and they would spend hours talking and laughing together. Aisha felt like she had found her soulmate in Abba, and she couldn't imagine a future without him. But fate had other plans. One day, a stranger arrived at Aisha's family compound, and her mother introduced him as her husband. Aisha was shocked and confused. She had never seen this man before, and she certainly didn't remember agreeing to marry him. Her mother explained that when Aisha was ill as a child, her family had collected her bride price from Al-Haji to help pay for her medical treatment. The man had been patiently waiting for Aisha to grow up so that they could get married. Aisha was horrified. She refused to accept this arrangement, but her mother insisted that the marriage date was already fixed and couldn't be changed. Aisha felt trapped and desperate, and she tried to run away several times, only to be caught by her mother. One day, Aisha's mother relented and gave her permission to visit Abba and tell him about the situation. Aisha was overjoyed and rushed to Abba's house, hoping that he would help her find a way out of this unwanted marriage. But when Aisha arrived at Abba's house, she was met with a shocking surprise. Abba listened to her story, but instead of offering to help her, he revealed a shocking secret of his own. "Aisha, I'm sorry," Abba said, his voice trembling. "I've been keeping a secret from you. I'm actually the son of Al-Haji, the man your family collected your bride price from. I was sent to keep an eye on you and make sure you didn't forget about the arrangement." Aisha felt like she had been punched in the gut. She couldn't believe that Abba, the man she loved and trusted, had been deceiving her all along. She didn't know what to do or where to turn. As she stood there, feeling lost and betrayed, Aisha realized that her life was about to take a dramatic turn. She would have to find a way to navigate this complex web of tradition, family obligation, and deceit. Aisha returned home, her heart heavy with sorrow. She couldn't bear the thought of marrying a man she didn't love, and she couldn't understand why her family had made this arrangement without her consent. As the days passed, Aisha became increasingly withdrawn. She stopped attending school and spent most of her time alone in her room, trying to make sense of her situation. But Aisha was not one to give up easily. She began to think of ways to escape her unwanted marriage and take control of her own destiny. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but she was determined to fight for her freedom and her happiness. One day, Aisha made a bold decision. She packed a small bag and slipped out of the house, determined to start a new life, on her own terms. She knew that her family would be angry and disappointed, but she was willing to take that risk for the sake of her own happiness. As Aisha walked away from her family's compound, she felt a sense of liberation wash over her. She knew that she had a long and difficult journey ahead of her, but she was ready to face whatever challenges came her way. Aisha's story is a testament to the power of courage and determination. Despite the obstacles and challenges that she faced, she refused to give up on her dreams and her desires. She took control of her own destiny and forged a new path for herself, one that was filled with hope and promise. And as for Abba, he realized too late that he had made a grave mistake. He had underestimated Aisha's strength and determination, and he had lost the one person he truly loved. He spent the rest of his life regret. Years passed, and Aisha's name became known far and wide. She worked with local organizations to campaign against child marriage and fought for the education of girls in rural communities. Her charisma and strength drew people to her cause, and her efforts began to bring about real change. Villages that had once upheld the tradition of early and forced marriages started to reconsider their practices, inspired by Aisha's unyielding determination. One day, while attending a conference in Abuja, Aisha was approached by an older woman in a colourful Hausa wrapper. The woman looked familiar, and when she introduced herself, Aisha's breath caught. It was her mother. Tears welled in both their eyes as they embraced. Aisha's mother apologized for the choices she had made, explaining that at the time, she and her husband had felt they had no other option to save Aisha's life. She told Aisha that she had watched her rise to prominence with pride and regret, knowing she had once stood in the way of her daughter's happiness. "I'm sorry for the pain I caused you, Aisha," her mother said softly. "I only wanted you to live. I didn't understand what I was taking from you." Aisha's heart softened. She understood the desperation her family must have felt, though the scars from their choices would always linger. She forgave her mother, knowing that healing could only come through understanding. As Aisha's work continued, she began to receive letters and calls from women and girls who had been inspired by her story. One letter, however, stood out. It was from Abba. In the letter, Abba poured out his heart, admitting his shame for his actions and the role he had played in her pain. He revealed that after she left, he had refused to follow through with his father's plans and had broken ties with the man. He had spent years searching for redemption, working with local charities to support girls' education, hoping to undo some of the harm caused by his family's actions. "I don't expect your forgiveness, Aisha," the letter concluded, "but I wanted you to know that you changed me. Your courage showed me what it means to truly fight for freedom and love." Aisha read the letter several times, her emotions swirling. She couldn't deny that she had once loved Abba, and though the betrayal still stung, she saw his words as sincere. It would take time to decide if she wanted to reopen that door, but she appreciated his effort to change. As the years went on, Aisha's legacy grew. She opened a foundation to support vulnerable girls, offering them education, mentorship, and refuge. She returned to her village often, not as a daughter weighed down by expectations, but as a leader and a symbol of hope. The people who once doubted her applauded her courage, and many families began sending their daughters to her school. Aisha never forgot where she came from or the struggles that had shaped her. And though her journey had been filled with heartbreak, it had also been filled with triumph. She had proven to herself and the world that even the strongest chains could be broken and that every person has the right to shape their own destiny. One day, she took a moment to reflect on everything and decided to visit her parents. She arrived at their home bearing numerous gifts, and the next day she returned with a substantial amount of money. She asked her parents to use it to repay Abba's father, with plenty to spare. Her parents were overjoyed. After a few days, she opened a large shop for her father, ensuring that they lived comfortably from then on. The end. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, share and comment. And if you'd like to share your true life story, please don't hesitate to reach out to us in the comments section below. We'd be happy to hear from you and help bring your story to life. Love you all. Bye.